Oh, he's right there.
What's going on, you guys? You made it.
Made it?
To Whiting. Dude, when I first came in here and I drove in, I saw this flagpole. It's like, I've made it to Gatlin. So cool. Coming from North Carolina, a long trek, but I wanted to see this place. I've been going to filming locations for so long, and it was so cool being here, getting to see this place. But anyway, so I'm Kenny. I'm on Set Cinema. It's literally just me. This is my great friend, John Sullivan. Yeah, let's shake hands. We know each other. But yeah, John, historian, he really knows just, I'm sure a lot of you guys know him since you're Children of the Corn fan, but he just knows so much about Children of the Corn. And we've known each other for a long time. So yeah, we're going to be walking you guys all around Whiting, telling you where everything was filmed and some other stuff. And John's going to kind of do his thing. He knows way more than I know about Children. I know a lot, but not as much as he does. So we're going to start here in Whiting. And we're going to hop on our brand new yellow school bus, thanks to the city of Whiting. And we're going to go around to, I think, 2 other towns and check out some of the other filming locations, which is going to be really, really cool. But the bathrooms are open, so you can, I would recommend like after if you need to use it, because we're really not going to have any stops. So like, I don't know if there's going to be a place to use the bathroom. But yeah. You guys ready to do this thing? Yeah. Where would you like to start?
We'll just start right here. Welcome to Gatlin, everybody. And let's start with the flagpole. You guys all know that. You know what happened there. Malachi has Vicky there, you know, hollering, you know, Outlander, you know, we have your woman come, and they're trying to get Bert to come out there. The flagpole seen through many scenes, as he's got pictures. And we do have a lot of the extras coming tonight that will be here. This girl, Peggy, she'll be here.
We have 13.
At least 13 of the extras that will be here. Definitely that were in some of the main scenes, which will be really cool. But you guys know that about the flagpole, and so we'll come back around to that. But let's go this way first. And we're going to stop right here because you guys remember when the one picture that Kenny's got there, the one where the kids are all around the flagpole with the
one's around the flagpole.
Yeah. So when they all have, show everybody, you all remember that scene, right? And while they was all right there, and you would think that probably it happened somewhere else, but Courtney Gates stood right here. And this is where you see him walk into frame and holler Outlander, and then they all look over at him, and then Bert takes off running, and they're like, go get him. Well, this was right where he stood and hollered Malachi, or Outlander, sorry, Malachi hollered Outlander. Then we'll walk down this way. Not much happened in this area, other than I believe it was right here was where Kirby's Market was. Now, Kirby's Market has since moved down there and has just changed hands, but this was actually Kirby's Market in the movie right here. You see the Kirby's Market sign. The big 7-Up on it was covered over because they couldn't use it, of course, for copyright reasons. It stayed Kirby's Market because Terry Kirby, the producer, saw it, said Kirby's Market liked it, so wanted to keep it. The post office was still here.
Yeah, look at that. Wherever they pull into town.
So this was the exterior of Hanson's Cafe. Now they didn't. It looked like they went inside here, and that was the inside of the cafe, but it wasn't. It was in another town, which we will get to on the tour. This right here, I think says like shoe repair in the movie. It was like this was like covered over with an extra door, so it looked like it wasn't like this. It was like this was a separate part. And the Hanson's Cafe was just right here. So the Hanson's Cafe sign, and then the shoe repair right here. But I don't know if it wasn't Hanson's Cafe. There was a sign up here that hung that said OK Cafe, and I don't know if this was actually the OK Cafe, and that's why it said that. I haven't been able to determine that or not. But yeah, the OK, you can see the OK Cafe sign hung right up here. And then, that's a good one too. Yeah, this is a good one. This is when they come back around, and we'll walk down this way. before the kids get Bert up at the flagpole, he comes running around here, and you see him stand here, and he kind of looks around this way, and he walks that way, and then the kids start to follow him up there.
That's it. You can see him right there.
Yep. So there's where he's walking right along here, and they start to follow him. They come around this corner, and they're starting to follow him up to the flagpole. So you see that in there. And then there's a boy that is that like at the very top, and he goes, "Outlander, hey!" And it was right at the top of that building, right up there. Just right at the top. I believe it was at the top of the post office.
This is a great shot too here, kind of right when they enter town, and they see that it's kind of desolate and stuff, and it's shot down here looking this way, but right when they get right there, pretty cool. And do you remember how, so I know that they, you know, I mean, do you remember how long they closed down the streets here? I mean, it was a while. I know the locals were pretty pissed for a while.
Yeah, well, I think they filmed like
Peter and
all
Linda.
of this, and like they filmed it like it all together, and then they went to another scene and filmed all the shots there, and that's how they did that, so that way they didn't have to keep it shut down, because they filmed from the beginning of September to the beginning of October. 1 month was all they filmed here, so in the entire area. So the principal photography lasted 1 month. So
that.
Daddy.
So there pretty much isn't anything else down that way that was filmed, but we'll walk across the street and we'll come back up this way. About this and the location is a lot of the businesses, especially in Whiting, like I said, Kirby's Market, there's a lot of the businesses that were the actual businesses. I mean, they didn't like completely change them for the movie. They kept the same names. You remember when they come out to chase the kids in the car that are running that way out of the cafe, this says Freeman Pharmacy. This was their Freeman Pharmacy in real life. So it's neat that they kept all this stuff in the movie. And I talked to the lady that was one of the owners, and she said, yeah, when they filmed, they had to do all their pharmacy orders and everything out the back door, so that nobody would see anybody coming in and out. They had to do it all out the back.
What's really nice of Whiting, so they were really nice enough. They're excited that a bunch of people are coming to town, and they painted the flagpole for us. Nice. And they painted all the yellow. And the last time they painted it was the last time I was here. So, to make it look nice for everybody. But like one thing for me, like being a Children of the Corn fan, like the flagpole, and that's the reason why I picked this location. And thankfully we get to watch the movie right here. But it's like such a weird, iconic thing of the movie, right? A flagpole, and like when you come into town. Sure, in the 80s small town, you know, you can see a flagpole, but the fact that it's still here in the middle of the street just baffles me that it's still here after all these years, and thankfully the town has recognized it's kind of the symbol of their town. But so there used to be two flagpoles. One was here, one was down there, but I believe a drunk driver took that one out. But this one has been hit a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people drink too much at the local bar and run to the flagpole, but it's still, it has some dings on it, but it's still here. But like you would think, like, you know, that just after so many of those, they'd be like, we have to get rid of it, but no, it's still here, which is really, really cool.
I asked somebody, I think it was the last time I was here, I said, you know, that's amazing that it's just right in the middle. I said, I would think it would have got hit, and they said, oh, it has.
Yeah. Background, like with the stop sign, I mean, it's all still there exactly. You can line up this shot perfectly, but yeah, the stop sign's still there with the concrete under it and everything. The building looks pretty much identical. It still has the words up there and everything after all these years.
And that's one thing that, you know, watching the movie, I wasn't from here, I'm sure most of you weren't from here, so in the movie when they do that wide pan shot when Bert and the two kids are running through town to go find Vicky, and they run past here and they do that wide shot and you see Cassidy and Whiting Block, you wouldn't think nothing of it, but everybody that was from here said, oh, it says right there, you know, where it's being filmed, Whiting. But I didn't know that. But then as they run through the town, and they kind of stop right there and they come around this way. This is actually the way to those silos they run through. It's actually right down here, but unfortunately they have been demolished, I guess, or removed because they're not down here. But it's just right around the corner, and I'll show you where that was. You can tell that's where it was because there's another building that is still there that is very familiar if you remember the scene. It's just a quick shot, but you'll probably remember it.
I'll let John explain the scene, but you can see the arch building here.
So right over here, there was about 3 or 4 bigger silos and a metal building that they ran in between. As they ran in between those, they came around, ran right through here, over, and they went straight over that way towards that oval building there. The silos were here last time a couple years ago. I assume they were still here. I hadn't heard any different, but as came into town, found out that they were gone.
I need to tell you to go up, Daddy.
But they set right there, and then the building set right beside them. So that was where they had ran behind and then ran around this way. Yep. And there's the silos in the building. You guys can see.
You got the concrete pad. If anyone wants to go steal a brick, there you go.
Yeah.
Free souvenirs. I didn't say you could do it.
That might go weight limit.
It's pretty bad.
All right. So, and then they ran this way. So now we're going to walk back. That's all there is in this area. Then we're going to walk back around and go back down that way towards the Whiting garage. Okay, another angle of the flagpole from this angle. A lot of different shots were, from this way as well. Right down here, this was the town hall in the movie. This is where Bert Looking for Help goes into. When he goes in there, it's not actually, that's not the interior they used. The interior for the town hall was at a train depot, a former train depot in Sioux City, which is now an insurance attorney's office. But this said town hall, a big front over the bank. They had put over it to make it say town hall. Joby, Robbie Kiger's character, watches him go into there. There was a bench that sat right across the street, and if you remember, he looks up over at him going into the Bert going into the town hall.
Right down. They did a good job replicating that. You can tell that the fake facade just came right to the edge.
Oh yeah, there's not a whole lot of room there. They really did a really good job doing that.
Yeah, so it's literally exactly the same. This was
Yeah.
but this is a different bank. That's the only way it's different. And then you can see, if you come out here, you can see like the old murals from the drugstore. That they're still there. They're just kind of faded. You can kind of see those from different shots here and there. And they're very, very faint now, but after 40 years, they are still there. I mean, you can see all 3 of them.
Pretty sweet. Then right here, when you guys come this way, you'll be able to see better. But right through this way, if you remember, Bert runs when he's running all over. They're chasing him, and he comes running up. He comes running right through here. These fences weren't here, but he comes running right up through here and stops right here and looks around like this. And he's looking over there.
Check this shit.
Yeah, when you guys go over there, you can see.
No, it's ridiculous. I mean, you can clearly see these grooves, this block, and it's all perfectly right here. Right.
Just like that.
Here we got it.
Yeah, just happened right there.
Yeah, it sells the notches and everything.
Oh yeah. Yep, everything.
Like this is what I'm into. This is like what I do. I've spent so many hours doing this. It's absurd. So the only thing they've really done is they've put in some bricks here, and you can tell that these are a little newer.
Let's see. As I was talking earlier, you remember where when they come into town, the Whiting garage, where the 2 kids pop up behind they drive into town. There's 2 girls, I think, that pop up behind a little barrel. It used to sit down here, and it got to where it was unsafe. When we came in 2022, part of it was gone, and it started to fall in. So then when we came to 2021, then in 2022 it was gone because they said it was getting too unsafe, so they had to tear the whole thing down. But it was just right down here. We'll walk down there and I'll show you where it was. So right down here where this flag is, you see the little drive in right there, kind of that empty spot where the concrete is. That's where the whiting garage is, right in there. Directly across the street, right next to this church where those trees are, kind of by that lamp there in the grass. That's where the blacksmith shop is at that Bert's trying to hide from Malachi. And so he goes in there.
5 minutes later.
So that's where the blacksmith shop was that Bert hides from Malachi. Malachi follows him in there and he's hiding, and then he gets Malachi in the leg, and then he turns around and rams his face into that beam. That set right over there. It's been gone for a long, long time. But the whiting garage was just tore down like in January of 2022. So it was there until then. Unfortunately, it's gone.
Again, free rubble,
Yeah.
free souvenirs.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it here in Whiting that was filmed. Not really. That's pretty much on the walking tour in the evenings. This is what I do is around.
Did you want to take them behind that one building?
Oh yeah,
We'll do that, right, Beth?
One more spot before we get on the bus. One more spot we're going to look at that's just right over here, and it's, if you don't know where it's at, you would never know to look there. When the kids are running looking for Bert, when he takes off running, and they run around these buildings and they're like looking around trying to see where he went, and you see like an old tractor sitting there. But when he runs through, there's behind the buildings, you'll see on the brick there's like a white circle, and there's a part of the building back behind here that was removed. You can see the black tar because that part used to be there when filming was done. We were told that about before 87 they removed that part. But we're going to walk back behind here and I'll show you exactly where that was. There was, the kids, Bert comes running around behind here. There was an extra part of the building that's stuck out here. You can see the black tar at the top. You can see where it used to be. That part was removed because it stuck out a ways. But when the kids come back around here, and Bert comes around here, if you watch the movie, there is a prominent white circle on the brick. Come over here. Very faint.
See it?
But you can still see it. There's a white dot. I've got a screenshot on my phone of Bert running past it. It's really white, and I'll show it to you when I find it on my phone. But you can still see the circles there with the dots. So you know that's where everything matches up. The door, everything else matches up to the brick.
Yesterday we had the opportunity, of course John found this old locations contract, a piece of land that they signed off to use, and we talked to the son of that property owner who is now retired, and he literally remembered exactly where in the corn that they carved in the corn where they were driving. I think they did about a three-quarters of a mile where Linda Hamilton and Peter, they were driving in the car, you know, where the corn was hitting their mirrors, but it's wild. He remembered exactly where in the corn that was. Yeah.
We're going to drive through it today.
Yeah, we should take the bus and just go plow this.
I've got a Welcome to Gatlin Visitors Guide. It shows you a lot of the different locations and the addresses. I want to hand this to everybody. I'll walk
Yeah,
through
so
here while we're waiting on
going to
everybody.
Hornick and Salic, but there's a couple locations in Sioux City and stuff, like in between the tour and the actual event. If you want to head up there tomorrow or something, there's more places that you can check out.
Go, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, Sergeant Bluff has the motel. That's in there. Yeah.
So as an aside, I just wanted to point out, I actually stayed at the hotel on accident. That it was not purposeful. It was not part of my trip. I just saw the hotel was cheap, and do not recommend. That is a hard pass on that hotel, by the way. So I'll show a couple clips from that, even though they're unrelated to the joint footage, just so that way people could see where it's at, basically, and what it looks like. But it's by a pizza ranch, if this helps at all, on the highway. But yeah, I slept in a sleeping bag because I didn't trust the covers. Let's just put it that way.
Down the road, and they're, you know, looking at the map, and they're listening to the radio, and then they end up hitting the boy Joseph. This is the road right here. It's such a straight shot. If you guys can look, it's such a straight shot, just back and forth, that they just used this road for that. It was, you know, adjacent to everything, and they just used this road right here.
They blocked it off at this intersection and the far intersection down there. It was about a mile stretch.
I think I can.
Right there where it was. Do we want to pull up right here, face the truck there, and walk right over to where the cafe was? So right over here. Okay, before we walk over that way, you guys look over here. You remember in the movie when Isaac's looking through the window, you can definitely see that stone building behind him. There was a stone building right there. And that is that right there. Everybody can see.
Good old creepy Isaac.
Cafe right over here. Okay, so the cafe set right in this area. There's the building right behind it. In 2008, I got to eat here in 2007, and the building looked almost identical on the inside. This was the interior of Hanson's Cafe. In 2008, on Christmas Eve, they were cooking Christmas dinner. They was cooking, I believe, a brisket or something. It caught fire, and the building was a total loss. So, unfortunately, it would have been so cool to have been able to everybody eat inside here. We would have definitely done that. Unfortunately, we can't do that, but this is where it said if people want to get pictures. Or...
Yeah, so for me, as being a Children of the Corn fan and watching this as a kid, like this is when, like, I think this movie, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like, it takes a turn, right, from different horror movies. Like, okay, the kids are killing all of the adults. And all of that is established right here in this building, which I think is such a unique thing in horror history. That it's just a totally different vibe of horror movie, and I think that, to me, and a big part of why this movie stands the test of time is because it's the kids just obliterating all of the adults, which makes it just extremely creepy. And me being from, like, you know, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, I'm just a big, and I think that's why I'm so obsessed with locations, is because this whole part of the country, I had no idea existed. I mean, you know, when I'm from West Virginia, I was like, where are we at? Like, all these cornfields. So it was just a very unique watch for me as a kid, and it's just, everything was unfamiliar, and I think that's why it was so scary. But yeah, so this is like the foundation, which is really cool. This is still here. And Isaac would have been pretty much standing right here in his beautiful brimmed hat. But yeah, so if you guys want to get pictures right here, and then we'll move on to the next location. Let me ask Rick if we're gonna walk or we're gonna pop back on the bus.
I was thinking.
And if anybody wants to hop on the bus, you're more than welcome to. He's gonna pick us up down here. I love how this town is like so deserted. It just like feels like the movie, right? There's like literally no one on the street. Hey, you settle down.
And a couple of years before we did the first screening here in 2021, there was they had a flood here in town, and there was a lot of damage. And I have a picture shows you what the town that the main street we just came from looked like. Completely underwater. A lot of businesses were damaged.
That's
A lot of houses. There was people that most of them rebuilt, but there's some that didn't. It was just it was really bad. Okay. When Bert's walking through Gatlin looking for help and he sees nobody, he walks by a school that says, I think Gatlin School, whatever it says. Yep, Gatlin School. It's set right here where this kind of goes off like this. It was right there in the middle. Was where all these sidewalks went up to it. But that's where it's set. It's no longer here. I'm not real positive when it was tore down, but it wasn't here in 2007, so it had to have been before then. So.
All right, so if anyone wants to slide down the slide for that memory, go for it. Otherwise, we're gonna head back on the bus.
No cornfield around it though this time. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, they learned the last time they did that.
I know the first time you came, there was cornfield all around, but there wasn't this last time. And we're coming up on a house that may look a little familiar. A couple kids by the name of Job and Sarah lived here.
I just don't like sweating. I can't go to children of the corn.
Why not?
He hurt himself and he wants a doctor.
You're so dramatic, bro.
I want to go to the park. That's a big
All right. So you guys, yeah. Last time we were here a couple years ago, this was all up on stilts and we were a little bit nervous what was going on with it. But I talked to the caretaker. He is totally fine if we take pictures here around the house, and you're more than welcome to take pictures on the porch, but we can't go inside the house. But yeah, and then after we take pictures and we kind of tell you what was filmed here, we're gonna do a group photo if anybody wants to be in that. But yeah, this is what it looked like in the film here. So basically identical, just a different color. They've added a support beam right here in the middle, and kind of like you, I feel like that maybe Fritz took it out so we could get a better shot of the front door because they filmed a lot at the front door. And then here is my favorite still shot of the entire film. You see this a lot in a lot of children with the corn stuff these days, but this was right here where you guys were standing.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. The only shot that was shot inside of this house, the actual interior was filmed at a different house that has since been demolished in Sioux City, Iowa. The only shot that was shot from the inside of this house was when they're looking in through the door, and you can see the camera shooting out this way through the door. Everything else inside was not shot. That was the house in Sioux City. So that was the only thing. And I don't. If you guys want to walk around to the side of the house, I guess we can do that, can't we?
Yeah.
I'll show you. Do you remember when they came out of the cellar? They opened up a door and they came out of the cellar. It wasn't a cellar. It wasn't actually there. It was just a fake thing. They had to crouch down in it like this. The fake cellar set just right in this area. Of course, now they've added a bunch of central air units. None of this was here, but the fake cellar doors was just right in this area, just right up against the house. And like I said, there was nothing. They just had to crouch down and then open up the door and climb out. They actually, what they used for the cellar was a garage that they had made look like a cellar, but it wasn't here. Of course, the cornfields, you see you've seen a lot of shots from the cornfield, looking at the house from the cornfield. Of course, you can see there is no cornfield this year. There has been in the past.
Yeah, it's been like right up to the property.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, do you remember being there?
They're planting soybeans to
They opened after the flood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, because when we came here, like it was, the whole property was like perfectly
Oh yeah.
shaped with corn, and we kind of went back and got some great shots, like looking through the corn and the house in the background. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
To
And I would
keep
say
it
that's
flooding.
why they lifted the house, was to probably fix the foundation because of the flooding. I was really afraid they was going to maybe move the house when we seen it up on its blocks. We was like, oh, are they going to move it? But they put it right back down, which is great. This is the farm where they filmed all the cornfield scenes. They filmed it on out past, they went out quite a ways. Out in the cornfield, that's where they had the circle, and this is also where they had the big explosion at the end. They said people from all over the area came just to see that explosion. They waited and waited till they finally did it. Oh, and this is where all of the wooden buildings throughout the movie, like the barn, I think we have some pictures here.
Yeah, so we just have one. So, like, me being, like, I just have to have evidence for this stuff. Like, it's just in my blood. Like, I really need to confirm stuff. But sadly, all of these buildings, and there was quite a few buildings in the film, they've all been since demolished. But if you look at the hills, they all match up perfectly in the background. So you can really kind of confirm that all of those, that the buildings were right here, because it kind of goes and slants down and has the trees down there, and all of the little hills line up perfectly. But yeah, right here, I mean, like, the entire ending, all of the iconic scenes of Linda Hamilton, you know, like on the cross and the zombie Isaac and all this stuff. So many incredible scenes in this particular cornfield.
Yeah. And it's almost impossible to, I mean, I'm not even sure exactly the exact spot, but it's out there. It's out there.
I would imagine, if I had to guess, I would imagine it was kind of right here, over, like, on the edge of this back here, because it's all from this direction, a lot of it. If they went too far, the hills wouldn't match up. So, and it's a farm, right? And I imagine this property has been here.
And they rotate beans, corn.
Yeah.
So I would imagine it was a part of this farm and this property, and that the buildings would have been in this area. But of course, it's hard to tell.
Well,
but
yeah, and then about the only way you could really pinpoint it's if that old tree still sit there, which do we want to go look for it?
No, I don't think we can do it.
And it's probably not out there. But that would be the only way you could probably be sure that's where it was, if that tree still stood.
We didn't see it when we went up there.
No, we never saw it.
So tell them how they did He Who Walks Behind the Rose.
Okay, so when He Who Walks Behind the Rose is coming up, you see it rolling through the ground, and it's like, looks like people have described it as like a big gopher. It looks like a big gopher going through under there. They just did stuff. They got stuff from locally. They built a big trench. They got a wheelbarrow, took the wheels off, turned it upside down, put a cable on it. They put like a tarp, and they put mulch and whatever on top, and all they did was with that cord, they just pulled it, and it just looked like it just rolled under the ground, and that's what they used. It was just a big trench with a wheelbarrow. And that was
Hooked it up
easy to
a
do.
4-wheel drive pickup.
Yeah. Yep. Just
Nice.
very easy to do. So,
So,
yeah.
if anybody wants a picture in the farm, the corn, people are, oh shit, we have somebody behind us.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
The very ending where they come and then the girl pops up in the back seat, that was filmed right here. They filmed that right here in the driveway. They did not film that at the house. You never see the house in that shot. You see the fence, you see a tree and the car, but they filmed it right here in this driveway was where they filmed it.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat.
Well, from chicken to corn is an iconic horror movie with ties to Siouxland. On-set cinema celebrating the 40th anniversary of Children of the Corn in a fun way in Whiting, Iowa yesterday.
Works at the post office.
Oh.
But yeah, anybody who, you're welcome to like stand right here in front of the corn if anybody wants to get out and take a picture with the corn.
So we're in Salix, outside Salix. This is where the gas station used to be. It was actually right down there where that driveway comes in. I have back when I was in here in 2007, there was a building that sat right over here that had it was an old building that had like some little turning things, I don't know what they call them, on the top. But it sat right over there, and the gas station was on the other side of that. Because in the movie you can see that the gas station sits on the other side of that building with the little turn things.
And when you see them drive in, they drive up that street right there and stop.
Yeah.
Looking right at it.
Yep. And they're looking. It's just right down that way because it's kind of a little ways away from the driveway. You can see it's like down there. But if you look, you can match up the electrical poles. You can match up which ones are in front of on the other side of the gas station. So it's right down there, but we'll get out and go take a peek.
Alright, this is our very last stop on the tour. So if you want to tell them what it is.
Yeah. If you remember, let's back it up. Whenever they pull into town, Bert and Vicky pull into town and they're driving through Gatlin. Well, you'll see that you remember they drive past this kind of an ovalish building in this road right here. Of course, they made it all look like it was one town, Gatlin, but this was the road they used for part of Gatlin. Completely different town, just had the look they wanted. This building with the arch is still up here, but a lot of these buildings are gone or completely changed. That's about the only building that's the same. It shows that they're running the kids when they start to chase Bert out of the church whenever he witnesses the Amos's birthday celebration. They run out of the church. Well, the church wasn't really here, but they built like a fake front to make it look like they ran out of the church and ran right in between those two buildings. I have a picture of the fake facade that I'll show everybody once we get out and take pictures and stuff. But that was right up here.
And this is just same thing. Just Bert running out.
Yep, just Bert running out, running across from over here, and just running in between the oval building and that white building, which I believe at the time the white building I think might have been the post office. I'm not sure. I know this is the post office now. So yeah.
Yeah, and the interiors, we actually were able to go with Fritz a couple years ago. The director got to go inside, but the interiors of the church still exists. Sunday might be a good day to stop by there if they're open. I don't know, but that's in Sioux City, which from Whiting's what, about 30 minutes away?
Yeah, and it's on your brochure I handed out. It shows the interior where it's at.
But yeah, if anyone wants to come out here and get some pictures in old sailings, this is our final little stop.
I think than anyone on planet Earth, and he has done so much to preserve the history of Children of the Corn. He's putting together tons of interviews. He's talked to just so many people over the years. But I want to thank you guys sincerely for being here. I really want to thank the city of Whiting. Thank you guys so much coming here. This is my third year being here. When I first approached them, I was like, you know, Whiting, Iowa, are the fans out there? Can we do it? And 3 years, in a row, you guys have shown up. This has been the biggest one yet, the 40th anniversary. We had Fritz, the director, John this year, and hopefully if Whiting will let me continue it, I'm trying to bring eventually everybody out. So, thank you guys again. I want to thank Katie Jorgensen for, she's been extremely helpful for all of this, letting me stay at her place and helping out with anything I need. Marie here at City Hall, everybody at Whiting. So all the food, you guys, the food, popcorn, everything you got, it's going towards the Whiting splash pad. And they've done really well tonight. I think they have a little bit more popcorn and some popsicles and stuff. A little bit more left. If you're interested, just definitely head over there. Let's see some things I have coming up. I'm from North Carolina. Love coming here. So tomorrow I'm traveling all through Nebraska, going to the west side, going all through Kansas, and I'm going to end up next weekend in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and I'm doing Twister in Guthrie, which is going to be awesome. And then in Tulsa, I'm doing an incredible movie, The Outsiders. So I'm really, really excited about that. But let's see. What else? So John is doing a very special thing, doing a little fundraiser. You want to tell about it, John? Yeah.
Hey, Outlanders. How you doing? Anyway, 40 years, who could believe it? 40 years, I can't believe I'm standing here looking at everybody on the 40th anniversary. I first came here in 2007 to see the locations, and I never would have thought that this would happen. I never thought I'd be involved in this, and it's very emotional, and thank you so much. Thank you to everybody here, the fans. Thank you to the extras that are here, and John Philbin. Thank you very much. But anyway, we have something that we want to announce. I've been working with the director, Fritz Kirsch, who was here a couple years ago, and producer Terry Kirby. We are planning on auctioning off for charity. It is going to the Sioux City Community Theater because a lot of the kids were from there that were in the movie. We are auctioning off at all the proceeds. Hello? We're back. All the proceeds are going to go to the Sioux City Community Theater. We are auctioning off one of the original drawings from the opening of the movie. It is the one that has forgotten. Anyway, it's got one of the casting director. Her name is on it, and I'm going to bring it out here and show it to you guys.
All right, so good. We're not auctioning off tonight, so just definitely check out John's website, and they're going to get that together soon. An awesome piece of memorabilia and history for Children of the Corn. Oh man, it's so freaking cool. Hey John, I'll give you like, can we do a secret? Isn't that beautiful?
Wow.
Yeah, and he's getting a ton of people from the cast to sign it. That's really awesome. And the plaque, what does it say?
The plaque says in memory, because Linda Francis, the casting director, she passed away. It says in memory, Linda Francis, CSA, original Children of the Corn title card number 4, for all her guidance. And it is signed by producer Terry Kirby, Fritz Kirsch, Peter Horton, Courtney Gaines, John Franklin, John Philbin, and Linda Hamilton. And it was all signed by them, and we are auctioning it off in a couple months. So keep a check to on my website and stuff, and I'll be posting updates and stuff when it's going to go on auction and everything. But childrenofthecornmovie.com. My website is down right now, so don't go to it. So sorry about that. I've got some problems with it, but I'm getting it fixed. But anyway, yes, we wanted Fritz and Terry wanted me to bring this to make sure we had it professionally framed. He wanted me to bring it to show everybody on the 40th anniversary. We wanted to make sure everybody saw it. So.
That's cool.
All right, that is awesome. All right, without further ado, the man of the hour, John Philbin. You want to say hey?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for letting me come here. I know it's supposed to be 14, we got the COVID because we're the 40th anniversary of Children of the Corn. We're doing this world tour and we're going to a different city, a different convention, hotel every weekend. So I'm the last man standing. I'm just honored and privileged you let me come to your town. This is really cool. Thanks.
Thank you so much, John. Think about your questions and I'll kind of come out here and yell them out. But we'll just start off with, how did you get involved with this film?
Okay, so I had been cast in another movie that I thought, this is the first movie I ever did, but I was cast in one I was supposed to do after this that I thought was going to be so important and change the whole world. It was called Brand New USA, and my agent said, hey, you've never worked in front of a camera, you've never been on a movie set, you should go in and try to get this small part in this little horror movie with Linda Francis, and it would be a good experience for you to do this before you went and did your important film. And 40 years later, no one's talking about that other important film. And I'm here, because Children of the Corn's got such a cult following. And that's because I think Linda Francis, who has passed away, she had an eye for casting, and Fritz Kirsch had a really good idea. He was very sincere, and he did it was everybody's first film, and we were so sincere. And I think that comes across, and I think it's why people like it. And I'm so lucky to have been a part of it.
That's awesome. How old were you? You know what I'm 23. 23, man, that's wild. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, what's your question? Did you cut your chest? Let's look. There it is.
No. What's your question? Was I supposed to be 19 or 18? But I did kind of look young for my age, I think. I'm not sure. I think that's why John Franklin got the part too, because he looked so young for his age. He kind of looked timeless, but we were all, young, playing even younger. So yeah, I was too old to be a part of the group, and so I had to sacrifice myself and even walk behind the road. But I was 23, playing 19 or 18.
What's up? What's your question? Were you scared of evil old Malachi?
Yes. Courtney Gaines was a method actor. He was very committed to his role. It was his first movie job too, and he looked like a lion. I mean, he was so gnarly looking with those big teeth and that red hair, and he was just frightening. And John Franklin, who's just the sweetest guy in the world, I wasn't scared of him because he was so nice. He would talk to me, and he was really super cool. But Courtney was intimidating to me even though he's the nicest guy in the world, and you know, we travel around and go to these, he's a super cool guy, but at the time, he was very serious about that part.
Anybody else? Oh, what's up? Where did the cast and crew stay, if you remember, 40 years ago?
We stayed at a Howard Johnson's. It had a Howard Johnson's in it, which was awesome. It was in Sioux City, Iowa. It was near a mall, had a restaurant in it, and it was most of the cast stayed there. I want to say Howard Johnson's. It's now a Holiday Inn, but it was great. I had so much fun. It's still a hotel. It's still in Sioux City, but it's not a Howard Johnson. I don't know if Howard Johnson.
Yeah, what's the question? How long did the production take? Do you remember?
No. John would remember. I was only there for 10 days. I had a small part. I didn't get to mix it up with the cast and crew. I was in and out. I did my scene with the chest, and then I did my scene at night. It stretched out to, I was probably there for maybe at the most 2 weeks, but the production, Jar would have to answer.
1 month.
1 month, that's nothing. 1 month. Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many takes did it take to do that scene with your carving backwards on your chest?
In a church?
The carving pentagram? Yes.
All right.
So, I mean, they do different setups. Probably 10. I would say I was in this little room. It was the first movie. It was the first scene I was ever going to film as a professional actor in a movie. So they were waiting to do this special effects scene with a knife that had a tube, and a guy was pumping blood into the tube, and they had to get the lighting and everything just right. I mean, for the carving. And I was in there doing sit-ups and push-ups, and like the director would come and look at me and go, "Why?" I mean, I've never seen an actor do more sit-ups and push-ups in my life. I was like, "Dude, I have my shirt off in the next scene." It's my first movie. I want to look good. But the scene when, you know, they did all the close-ups in a situation where they could film that different lighting, and then when I moved to the church, they shot that scene with Peter and Linda probably 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, so the ending was shot just outside of Hornet, and then the interiors of the church with them pentagram. It's a church in Sioux City, and it's still there. We took first there, and it looks almost identical to it did in the film. I think it has the same stained glass, right? Everything.
Most of it.
Yeah, most of it. Pretty incredible. Anybody else? What's up? Hey. What is your absolute favorite part of this film?
Thank you for that question. Without a doubt, my favorite part of that film is when I'm sitting outside at night and I walk with the procession and there's fog coming out of my breath. I've got a pentagram and everybody's like kind of honoring my character, and I'm about to offer myself, and I hear the monster. And I stand up to offer myself to the monster, and I'm thrilled. I'm so excited I get to meet he who walks behind the rose and end this Vale of Tears life.
Yes! Yes, Nick. Oh, okay, nice. Anybody else? Do you have a question back there?
Was anyone hurt, or did you have a doctor on set or an EMT just in case something happened?
John Sullivan, that is a question for you. Was anybody hurt, and did we have a doctor? Of course we had a doctor. We had to have like a nurse at least, but maybe not a doctor, and maybe not an EMT, but there was a nurse. Yeah, John?
The only thing that I can think of was...
The only thing I can think of was when that anybody got hurt was would have been when Linda Hamilton is at the flagpole, and I guess Courtney Gaines, when he grabs her face after he cuts her, of course he didn't cut her here. They covered her face to cover where she would be cut. She was cut back in LA. But anyway, I guess he did grab her face pretty hard and bruised it. That's the only thing that I know of.
He was very committed to his role.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
What's your fondest memory
Of this shoot, of Children of the Corn, my fondest memory was probably, I mean, God, I didn't have that many scenes, right? So, without a doubt, carving that pentagram was cool because it was a practical effect. And I was taking a knife and drawing it across my chest, and I saw blood dripping out of it. And I thought, this is going to be so cool. And then, of course, that night when I sacrificed myself, it was so powerful. Everyone was out there. I don't know if there's extras in this that were there. It was freezing cold, you know, and it was the lighting at night is very exciting on a movie set. And everybody was just focused on what was going to happen, and you could, you know, that was powerful for me. I can't wait to see it. I hope it's as good as I feel it was.
It's so cool. I know when they filmed the ending out here when they did the explosion, they let everybody know, and like all the locals were like waiting on pins and needles for them to do this explosion out there in the cornfield, which is really cool. So I don't know if there's anyone else, so I'm gonna ask because I'm a super geek of Point Break. So we have Jimmy Carter, one of the ex-presidents from Point Break. And Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze, Gary Busey. Lord, thank you so much. If you had just, maybe your, I don't know, a favorite memory out there in the surf, you know, in California or anything that you love from Point Break. I love it.
I mean, I love that whole thing because I love that cast. I mean, I'm a surfer, so I love surfing. All the surfing was filmed on the North Shore of Oahu, which is my favorite place in the world. And we went over there twice and surfed a bunch of waves. It was supposed to be day for night. And all the beach scenes were filmed in California, in Malibu, with Patrick and Keanu, football and all that. LA, and then we'd fly to Hawaii and film surfing. And that was, I mean, I'm a surfer. Are there any surfers here? Okay, so, just thank you for that. I'm just going to say that Patrick Swayze was the nicest, most generous man, and he took me and all our bank robbers up skydiving 8 times, and we got to stay in his house and jump out of planes with him and go water skiing with him and see his Arabian horses. He just loved us, and we loved him back, and he just took care of us. And probably meeting Patrick Swayze and being close to him and becoming his friend was the best part of that movie. And then again, I must also add, Keanu Reeves blew my mind. He was the smartest, nicest man, and he still is. You know, everything you read about him, you know, he's just as cool as, you know, his reputation.
So, Children of the Corn 40th anniversary, all these years later, was there, 23, have no idea about this movie. Was there a time in your life kind of when you realized, wow, like I'm talking about this movie more than I ever thought I would, and this has become a true thing? Do you remember a moment or a place that you were in?
I don't necessarily remember the place. This is a realization that has come about for sure this year, but in the last 2 or 3 years of my life, I'm 64. I thought I was a failure as an actor. I'd done small parts in a couple little movies, and nothing that I like to watch, And then 30 years later, the 80s movies that I did get to be in, Return of the Living Dead, Point Break, Tombstone, Children of the Corn, movies that I had small parts in, became these cult movies that we would go to these conventions and stuff, and people would come up and tell me how much they loved it. Now, I was like blown away by that because I had quit acting. I was teaching surfing, and I forgot I was an actor, for like 10 years. And then these movies got popular because fans liked them. And we started going to these conventions, and I got to meet people that watched the movies that I was in. And I was like, I wasn't a failure as an actor, man. These people love these movies, and I was lucky to be in them. And I just became grateful. My whole attitude went from like kind of a bitter, resentful guy to a grateful, lucky guy. And that's how I feel now, grateful and lucky.
Thank you again, John. Sincerely, so much. Round of applause. Thank you so much. So yeah, I think he's gonna hang out and watch the movie, and then afterwards, if anybody wants any last-minute autographs, he's gonna sign. So on the count of 3, we're gonna yell Outlander. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Outlanders! Yeah. All right, we're gonna let the sun go down a little bit anybody needs the restroom, food, or anything like that, now would be the time. Thank you guys sincerely for being here. We're gonna watch this corn movie here in a minute. Oh, you got a minute? I'm so sorry, John.
Since it's the 40th anniversary, I want to be the first to let everybody know I haven't announced this yet, but I want to be the first to announce that. You're gonna do it? You're gonna announce it? I have been signed on by a publisher to do the first ever definitive book on the children of the corn. So that will be coming hopefully next year. It's tentative when the release date will be, but it's going to have stories that will have this event in it, have every on-set cinema event. I'll be talking to more people about it to get interviews and all that. So be looking for that, and thank you very much.
All right, we'll get the movie started in just a little bit. Please bear with us. We really haven't been able to kind of test the movie screen since it really hasn't been dark. So we may be needing to move some things up and down.